Joining me now is Senator Robert Casey of Pennsylvania. He's a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator Casey,
good to be with you.
It's great to have you here. First, I got to ask you about what Senator Leahy said on this program yesterday. He said the pipeline of aid will be cut off in Congress in a matter of weeks or months. Is that true? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, I can't predict the future, but I'll say this, that very few Americans are not able to view what's happening on the streets of Cairo and Alexandria and other places. And when we make determinations about funding, all of this evidence will be part of that decision. So I'm not going to predict what will happen, but I think it's a question that the United States Congress now has to face, and we will.
Senator Leahy also mentioned that President Obama can cut that pipeline of aid at any time, on any given day. Do you have any idea whether he is considering that or already has done that?
I really don't know, but the Congress, as an independent, separate branch of government, is going to have to make this decision this year. And look, one of the most important things we got to focus on right now is making every effort that we can, directly or indirectly, to bring about stability. And that stability will lead to the kind of change that I know the Egyptian people not just hope for, but are putting their lives at risk in some instances to bring about political reform so that the rights that we take for granted here in the United States can be part of the fabric of Egypt, which is a great country and is suffering mightily right now. And we've got to do everything possible to make sure that transition takes place orderly and that in a way that can bring about those kinds of reforms.
So, Senator Casey, let's talk about that transition and that stability you're mentioning. What's our ideal? Who would be the caretaker if Mubarak were to step down? As we transition to democracy, we have the elections in 7 months. Who rules in that 7 months between now and then if Mubarak steps aside?
I don't think we know the name of a person necessarily. I don't think anyone has emerged yet. But what should happen, what makes the most sense, is some kind of administrative body that can make this transition. Representation by civil authorities, representation by civil society, the people that some of the people I met with when we were in Cairo going back into July, where they were telling us about the problems they have in everyday life. They should be represented, and of course that includes many of the leaders who brought about this movement that we're seeing played out on the television. And if you have an administrative body that comes together that can bridge from here to there, so to speak, from where we are now, which is a very difficult time for this country, to a time when there's going to be elections, and to move up that calendar so that you're not waiting 6 months or 9 months, you can get it done in a few months, then I think someone will emerge from that process, and I'm sure that the Egyptian people will find someone who can not only govern the country, but keep out extremism and make sure that at all costs that international agreements are abided by, and that Israel is not put at risk because of the change in government.
Senator Casey, see, that's a tough balance, and I get that the president's in a tough situation, the United States government's in a tough situation, not just because of the stability we need in Egypt and the allies we have in the region, but also because, look, honestly, we're allies with a lot of other dictators in the Middle East, and they don't want to see that we're going to pull away from them the minute there's a protest. How do you thread that needle where you support democracy, but at the same time not alienate some of your allies in the region who are similar to Mubarak?
Well, I think he analyzed it well. It's very difficult, and anyone who thinks that there's a guidebook and they could do it better should try it. It's very difficult, especially for the President of the United States, but really for our country and the Congress as well. We've got to do everything possible, as I think we have already, to speak with one voice, Democrats and Republicans, to make sure that we're being constructive. We can't tell the Egyptian people what to do. We can't tell their government what to do. But we've got to do everything possible, both publicly and in what I'm sure are a lot of good back channel conversations about how best to move this forward, to create some stability, and then also to put in place a structure to get from here to elections, and then you can have a new era that comes about in Egypt in a way that's consistent with what has to be stability and security within the region. And I think a lot of that starts with making sure that these international agreements, especially as it relates to Israel, are adhered to.
All right, final question for you, Senator Casey. On Omar Suleiman, who's the vice president, who's Mubarak's right-hand man, if they transition to Suleiman, is that basically the same thing as Mubarak? Is that not good enough?
Well, Suleiman's someone I met with in July on our trip. He's a very smart, capable, experienced person. Comes from an intelligence and military background. But in my judgment, this is my opinion, I don't think he would, as a figure, be the right transitional figure to lead that. He might play a role, and today he gave a speech and I guess is trying to play a role. But this would have to be a group of people that has a broad consensus, or there's a consensus underneath a broad coalition of leaders, and part of that is the military, part of that is civilian leadership, and part of that are folks who are leading the reform effort to get from a period of violence and discord and last night a lot of anarchy on the streets to a position where they can elect their leaders and move forward into a bright and positive future for Egypt.
I totally agree with that. And from my perspective, it's a relief to hear you say that. Senator Casey, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.